Alrighty, how's it going, everybody? I got another video that I'm making. I saw this article, and I gotta make a video. I have to address it because I'm gonna get your thoughts on it. Because I'm gonna use some. Sometimes I use analogies, to make my point, and sometimes people think my analogies are like, because I don't make analogies of the same subject. Like I'll make an analogy like cars or, to make, but I'm trying to stress a point. The point that I'm taking, the point that I'm going to make relates, but sometimes the analogy that I use may to some people seem like they don't relate, but you'll see what I'm talking about. So anyhow, I saw this article. It says, let me go back. It says Billy Corgan thinks Pro Tools. I'm gonna let you know so you can see the light's gonna be. So I guess the camera lighting. Anyhow, I'm reading this article. Let me make the. There we go. So that way you can see I'm reading this article. There we go. I'm not making. There we go. You can see the angle. So you see it's from Music Tech. I'm not making this up, so you can see the article where it says Billy Corgan. So there you go. So I'm just wanted to show that I'm not making this up. So anyhow, it says Billy Corgan thinks Pro Tools made music worse. It brought a lot of people into the music business that really have no business being into the music business. Okay. I'm just gonna read. It says a new interview. The Smashing Pumpkins frontman spoke about how Pro Tools and similar tech led to a more stale culture of creativity and music, right? And so Billy doesn't seem to like it when new tech enters the music industry. Says although 90s icon used AI to create a recent multicultural online advert for his iconic band, the Smashing Pumpkins, he remains cautious about other tech and music. Tech he believes is problematic. And then, so Corgan takes aim at Pro Tools and Pro Tool type software, meaning other DAWs. I call them VRSs, right? To express his discontent at how digital audio workstations have affected the music industry at large. I'm gonna keep reading because I know people are ready to chime in with comments. In many ways, Pro Tools has made music much worse. It brought a lot of people into the business that really have no business being in the music business. Corgan says Pro Tools, as a sort of way of making music on some level, has leveled the playing field that allow people who can't sing to sound like they can sing. So now he's blaming Pro Tools instead of like Melodyne or Auto-Tune. See what I'm saying? Anyhow, we're gonna keep going. And people who can't play the guitar now sound like they can. So now we're talking about quantizing and music correcting tools, and like, programs like MIDI Unison Chord Pack and all that. And I'll express my thoughts on like Unison MIDI Chord Pack and all that in another video. But later in the interview, Corgan extends his point on Pro Tools to AI, referring to how streaming services are approached the new tech. Okay, so now whenever tech shows up, people are right to raise their hand, raise alarm. Corgan says we already seeing people using AI to generate lyrics, melodies, and chord changes. Streaming services are already buying companies to make AI generated music, so they don't have to pay human beings. They can just take the money themselves. I mean, it just goes on and on how AI is affecting the music industry. It says how the Recording Academy, which oversees the Grammys, clarify the rules on AI and summarizing AI work that contains no human authorship is not eligible for in any categories. Corgan assures humans' authorship and creativity is central to Smashing Pumpkins' process even after 30 years of being a band. Not to get too technical, but we still use amps. There's no amp modeling. It's all raw power. It's guitars and amps into cabinets and mics. We still believe into moving air, where there's a lot of rock records are being in the box, Corgan says. Corgan has music criticism of Pro Tools in the past, and blah, blah, blah. Anyhow, that's pretty much the gist of the article. Once again, we got another rock band that seems to think that the only genre of music is rock. Now, for me, I really don't use auto-tune or Melodyne. But they've used that on even some of the best artists out there that can sing and have used some auto-tune, because humans, unless you're an extremely well-trained vocalist, and I'm just going to be honest about this too, talk about Smashing Pumpkins. I'm sorry, but he's talking about people that can't sing. Majority of the people that sing rock can't sing. They just can't. Now, I'm not saying there aren't some good rock singers out there, that singers that can sing, but I'm sorry, and this is going to be, I'm just going to be culturally biased on this. Your real singers, people that can actually sing, usually sing pop, they usually sing country, they usually sing R&B, and they usually sing jazz and gospel. Metal singers can't sing. Have you ever listened to AC/DC's lead singer without any music? His voice, the way he sings is kind of repulsive. But I don't mean that repulsive like in a bad way. In other words, the way the lead singer sings of AC/DC fits what he's doing, because it doesn't require to have any vocal substance that requires any melodic structure that actually for your ears to distinguish actual tone. I'm talking about a real singer like Stevie Wonder or Luther Vandross or Mariah Carey or Kelly Clarkson. I'm talking about singers can actually like a major scale, or sing a minor. I'm talking about actual melody. And on top of that, with a vibrating la la la, and I'm not even a singer. I'm just saying, you never hear that. All you hear in most rock is la la la. You know that. Welcome to the jungle. That is not. It's just they do that because it's the style of genre music. But anyhow, I digress. Let me move on. He's confusing Melodyne and Autotune and AI programs like Unison that puts chords in for you for Pro Tools. Pro Tools is a digital editing recorder. Pro Tools, along with any other DAW, just made life a lot easier for than someone to have to go back and sit there and spend hours cutting up a tape machine. Because once you cut up a tape machine, I don't care how you think it's people that don't want to look and understand that these things are made to make your life easier. No one wants to keep working harder because you've gotten used to working harder, is my point. This is the reason why it's kind of like a lot of stuff is made. Either you're going to accept it and realize that a lot of stuff is made because that's just the way it is. It's like making a carbureted car. No one wants to keep trying to tune a carbureted car because carburetors can't self-adjust to the altitude and everything else. They can't. There's no sensors to make any adjustments. This is the reason why they invented fuel injection with a computer to make all these changes. Yes, sometimes they can be problematic because computers and sensors can fail. But 90% of cars today are fuel injected. Actually, other than the other 10% electric. They've gotten rid of the carbureted car because it wasn't efficient. They're getting double the horsepower numbers or triple the horsepower numbers with the same cubic inch motor. You're not getting that kind of power out of a carburetor unless you have a gigantic, humongous 600 cubic inch big block. You know, with these massive carburetors and all this, and sometimes you got to put a blower and everything else on it just to get the same power that some of these cars, you got 4 cylinders making 300 plus horsepower now. That was unheard of. So let me get back on point with the music. It's, you know, I'm gonna use 2 more strange analogies, but they make sense. It's like the same people that blame guns. You know, when all these people, you know, when you got this crazy nut that goes to a school and starts shooting up kids, all of a sudden, you know, we got to change gun reform. What about the crazy nuts? We're talking about the ones that are issued. I'm talking about the crazy nut with badges and guns that are just shooting people. Every time I turn around, look at the news, some cop that got convicted for rape, domestic assault, or he shot somebody, you know, and they're legally to have a gun, and they're unstable. You got unstable cops. So is it the guns or is it the people that are unstable? So that's the problem. It's the mentally crazy people that are getting hold of these guns. And now I'm talking about gun reform, but then, you know, you got, you know, whatever the case. I've been to countries, when I was in the Army, I've been to countries where most citizens don't have a gun. So you don't have gun, because like when I was in South Korea, there are hardly any South Korean citizens can have a gun. They don't even have guns. So you don't hear about all the crazy, you know, every now and then you might see a civilian Korean that might get in a fight in a bar. You know, we call them Odyssey. Every blue moon you'll get Odyssey get in a fight with another Odyssey because, you know, they don't have a great driving system and they get mad at each other that way. But that's about the extent. But you don't have a crazy Korean going to a Korean school and shoot up a bunch of Korean kids. And that's in a lot of countries. United States is the only one that you got all the people that are pro-gun, talking about the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, and it's our guns, but you still got all these crazy people getting a hold of these guns. And then they want to look at the people like, you know, like the crazy school shootings, or people going to movie theaters and start shooting people, or people going to Lubies, or you got a guy with a rifle that climbs them on a tower and just start mauling people. Every time you turn around, these people are mentally unstable people. Then you got cops that are mentally unstable. It's just start shooting people. Like Philando Costello, he told the cop, I got a gun. I'm licensed to have a gun. The guy still wants to growl about a gun. You know, it's a lot of ignorance. You know, it's, but anyhow, let me get back to, because it's 12 minutes. That's one strange thing. So it's not the gun. A gun can't do anything until someone picks it up and starts shooting it. A gun can't even load itself. It's like a pet. A pet can't, you know, unless you give, you know, your dog. The dog you have to feed the dog. In a gun, you have to feed it bullets. Then you literally have to pull the trigger. It takes a mentally stable person not to pull the trigger. An unstable person will pull the trigger. It's the mentally unstable people, and I'm talking about even the cops they hire. Half them people are not mentally stable. And it's always the same thing. They shouldn't have been a cop. Well, we know that, but the police departments don't care because they're so desperate. They'll hire anyone. There's a whole bunch of reasons why they hire cops that shouldn't be cops. Part of it is a good old boy system and everything else. But let me move on. So, getting back to the music. So now we're blaming Pro Tools, which made your life easier to edit your music. And as far as talking about people that shouldn't be in the music industry, the only difference between what's going on with the music industry and that shouldn't be in the music industry is, first of all, the music industry was flawed from the beginning. Simply because labels were ripping their recording artists off. Period. Or basically, they were giving them pennies. You know, and I don't care what excuse. There's no reason why you should have Arista or people like Clyde Davis or all these music, you know, these mega giant like Universal, Warner Brother, or what's the other one? Warner Brothers. There's Warner Brothers. There's Universal Music Group. There's Sony Music Group. There's the big three, right? There used to be EMI. Now it's down to 3, right? I think EMI covered most of the European scene, but still there was EMI as well. Now you're just Sony Music Group, Warner, Music Group, and these are corporations. Sony was already big into the electronics and everything else, but now they in the music. They got their hand dipped in the music industry. Warner Bros is already into movie theaters, but now they got their hands dipped in the music business. And the same thing with Universal Music, movies and everything, but now they got their hands dipped into the music. When all these record labels, and some people think that a lot of these record labels, were corrupt. Because they were recouping stuff they don't need to recoup. Like you bought a burger and fries and drink because you gotta eat. You spent, all of the money. Well, you just bought burgers, fries, and drink. We recouping that too. Just greedy. There should have been things that when it comes to advance, you're gonna recoup the advance, only the advance. And the thing is, if the advance, it should have been that if the record advances should have been like this. This is why record labels need to shut down. The record labels was the music industry, not Pro Tools. The music business and the music industry is two separate things. The industry is about performing and being an artist. Getting into the music industry means that you want to be an artist or a performer that wants to get in front of people and perform. People still do that for a lot less money. Even when they go to, if you're playing in a night band, or if you're playing in a band in a local club, and that club pays you $300-400 that night just to perform for 2 or 3 hours in front of that crowd of that local bar or whatever, that's the music industry. The only difference between playing in a local bar and playing in a sold out 30 person stadium, the events like Michael Jackson, 100,000 people, whatever, is the size of the people coming to see you. That's the only difference between someone coming to see you at a local club or someone seeing you in a local band. But the people playing for you, that's the industry. People keep confusing the business. The business is when money is exchanged. And a lot of that business shouldn't have been a business because it wasn't a fair business. That's why you got so many artists suing their record labels trying to get their masters, because there's no reason why but the record labels want to be greedy and own the publishing and the masters anyway, because they feel when they were artists isn't making money, we can use all the sync licenses, grand licenses, we can use mechanical rights and all these other rights, sync rights and all this. Every possible dime that song could make us money. I mean, we're going to keep that as our catalog. We can sync it to all these different these licenses to keep us making money. When they've already made their money off the record sales. If that record went platinum, they've already made their money and some, because they got it twisted in the contract that way. I'm only going to pay this person 3 points. The meaning 8.1 cents or a point, or 9.1 cents a point or whatever. That means the artist can only make 27.3 cents off a $12 or $13.99, per unit sales. So if they sold one unit $12.99, the artist only got 27 cents of it. The ratio to math that's the unfair part. Don't blame Pro Tools, because Pro Tools, or whatever case. Now, do I feel that do I think that and I'm not gonna say Pro Tools, or he's talking about any DAW. I'm not gonna blame any DAW, because DAW made their life easy, because I don't want to use tape. You can't edit tape like you can in a DAW. You can't edit the tracks. You can't, whatever the case may be, and on top of that, there's, Mr. whatever his name, Corgan. There's 27 different genres of music, Mr. Corgan. It ain't just rock. No one's listened to. I don't listen to Smashing Pumpkins, but I guarantee he's probably not listening to John P. Key, a gospel artist. John P. Key, the Love Fellowship Crusade Choir. He's probably not listening to that. It's the same thing when it goes to that guy named Glenn up in Spectre Sounds that wants to base his whole entire YouTube channel around metal. Like as if everybody in the world listens to metal. You know, there's too many biased opinions when it comes to their thoughts about music. That's why I'm a very open-minded person. I listen to a vast amount of music genres, but I don't listen to every artist in those vast amounts of genres. Like, I do listen to rock. You know, one of my favorite rock songs is Photograph by Def Leppard. I listen to Def Leppard. I don't listen to Smashing Pumpkins. And I'm not knocking Smashing Pumpkins. I'm just saying, because there are people that like Smashing Pumpkins. But remember I told you, that if you watch my other video about, I was talking about the recording studio is easy. It's the internet that's confusing. Remember I told you these rock bands come with these crazy names, Smashing Pumpkins. You know, just like with Def Leppard, that's a you know, every rock band has these I don't know why everyone think they gotta have a crazy name. But if you ever noticed, most R&B groups don't have crazy names. They just have the name of the group. But then, you know, some artists can be weird, like Lady Gaga. But they say a lot of times people think this artist being weird, but not what they're doing. They're just trying to keep themselves interesting, to keep people interested in them. I don't know. I don't think you have to be weird to be interesting, or keep yourself interesting. But anyhow, I want to talk about that article because I want you to post your comments, because it irks me when they think that they want to blame the tools and not look at, there's people that was in the industry that shouldn't been in the industry, even in the old system where you had to get a record contract. Because there are some people that just really weren't that great as singers. They really weren't. I'm sorry. They're just, you know, I hate to be cruel, but it's like we could dance if you want to now. How about this? You know, or I'm just sorry. Just, you know, I was talking about NSX. I need you tonight. He's an okay singer. Rest in peace, because he killed himself. But then you got she drives me crazy. I can't she drives me crazy. Ooh, that really. You compare him to really being able to sing like Luther Vandross. And I'm not going to attempt trying to imitate Luther Vandross, because Luther Vandross, you know, it's just, those are singers. A lot of these people that got into the music industry were just niche. It's kind of like, there are audiences, when they listen to a lot of these groups, not understanding that a lot of reason why the music is covering up a lot of the flaws of the artist. Because if you ever listen to some of these singers with a cappella, they don't sound as good without having the music behind them. Music has a psychological effect on how you listen to it. And a lot of times when there's music, you tend to be a lot more forgiving. This is the reason why when they do American Idol auditions, you'd be amazed if a lot of those American Idol auditioners would actually, you know, instead of singing a cappella, would sing behind music. A lot of times, a lot of them would gotten through to American Idol that probably shouldn't have gotten through American Idol. But see, the thing, the people at American Idol, the producers and all that, along with the judges, that were smart enough to say, no, let's hear. That's why you're doing it a cappella. We want to really hear if you can sing. And if a person can really sing, people that gotten through American Idol like Fantasia and Kelly Clarkson and Carrie Underwood and Ruben Studdard and talking about people that, you know, Melinda Doolittle and all these people that went through American Idol that sound good without the music, well, they definitely going to sound good with music. So that was smart. So that whole thing about people getting in the music industry, shouldn't be in the music industry. There are a lot of people that should have never gotten into the music industry. You know, it's kind of like, you got people that were mediocre singers, and I hate to say it, but Paula Abdul was a mediocre singer. She's still a mediocre singer. Janet Jackson is okay. She's always been an okay singer. Janet Jackson has never been in this, just like with Mary J. Blige. Mary J. Blige is very pitchy. She's not a pure singer like Gladys Knight. She's not like Aretha Franklin. She's not. Mary J. Blige but what's got Mary J. Blige over has always been solid music production. Because I've listened to Mary J. Blige over the years, and Mary J. Blige is, I'm not gonna say she can't sing. She's just pitchy. So a lot of times, sometimes when you have a person that's pitchy, you have to put some auto tune when they go and sing certain parts that just aren't. They're supposed to hit that E flat, and they hit an E instead of an E flat, and now you gotta auto correct it to get them. So they started. Everybody use auto tune to bring it back on pitch, so it matches the music. You have to use auto tune, and yes, you have to use it on Grammy Award winning, because the whole Grammys and the whole thing that's a whole different thing between Billboard, RIA, Grammys, and all these awards and things like that because the Grammys and all these award shows, they're voting committees. They're not necessarily, it's almost like the electoral college instead of being a popular vote. But in the end, now you're blaming the tools and not the source. How about the source is, talking about people that should be in the music? Well, they're people that should have never been in the music industry in the first place. Period. Just a lot of these people that got into the music industry just weren't that great. Especially a lot of those European acts. And then there's a lot of great artists that, but at the same time, the music industry also, when it came to record labels, if you had the right people scouting the right and actual real physical talent instead of collecting niches that they think would sell and signing niche art acts, you wouldn't have such a fluctuation of good versus bad. And we're talking about this is before the internet and the gatekeepers are gone. We're talking about when it was record labels and the radio and music video, because a lot of these people in these other genres and a lot of pop and rock and all that metal, they think they're singers. They're not. The only reason why a lot of people listen to a lot of these vast variety of genres of people is because people, it's about like this. Every one of these people that are into those type of genres of music, have them put out a solo acapella album with no band. Just to have every one of those artists that are singers of all these rock bands and metal bands, whatever, put out an acapella album. You gotta, or let them just do just a single. The only people that could pull that off is like, what was it? I can't think of the name of the group. More Than Words, and more than the group. They usually would sing rock, but they actually can sing. So they did a track where it was just them singing with just a guitar. That's when you have someone that can sing. When a person that can sing just themselves and maybe a guitar or piano. Stevie Wonder can do it. Luther Vandross could do it. Most R&B artists can do it. Just like most gospel singers can do it. But even Christian music, we're talking about gospel Christian, even Christian singers, majority of people that get into gospel and Christian are people that can actually sing, or even definitely jazz. These type of people that sing those type of genres can actually physically sing. So that's a cop out. That's a cop out talking about Pro Tools is the cause to with the problem to the music industry. No, the music industry was flawed from the beginning with the corrupt, with the bad point system, not paying an artist, coming up with this, giving them only 27 cents and then expecting to pay their business manager, road manager, artist manager, and all these people, producers and everything else. And then on top of that, pay advance. And then you want to recoup airline tickets and all this stuff, and everything that you trying to recoup that you don't need to recoup. That's just plain greed. Telling the artists, keeping the artists in poverty, and then they're under these ridiculous contracts, and the artists got to sit there and tour 10,000, hoping they fill all the seats just to pay back the record labels, because the record labels keep coming up with all these things that they say the artists owe, including the studio time. Yet that artist made that the album already went platinum, the second album went platinum, the third album went platinum. They've already made the record label billions of dollars, but you still recouping all this crazy stuff. I sound like I'm in God. They keep recouping all the money that the artists should have been getting. What I'm telling you, that they shouldn't be taking all this money. It's a land of greed. It's just already 30 minutes. I might as well turn into a that's what preachers do. They'll teach it that they go into preaching. Won't they steal it from you? Can I get a witness? They will steal your money, giving you only 3 points. That I'm telling you, that is that we will. No, let me stop. I gotta put some humor into it. So to sum it up, it's not Pro Tools. It's like with guns. It's not guns killing people. It's people killing people. The guns is just a tool. It's not Pro Tools or Melodyne or Auto-Tune. Those are just tools. It's, whatever the case. You can't blame that people, because everybody, and I'll say this, and I will make this one paraphrase agreement with him. I'll paraphrase to what he's saying. There's people that should be in the music industry. There's people in the industry that shouldn't be in the industry. There are people right now that shouldn't be. It's just the difference is they don't have to sign a contract because they can upload their stuff to all the, platforms, and they can use all the distribution medias like 1RPM and DistroKid and CD Baby and all that, and they can up their music to Reverb Nation and SoundCloud and just the internet has made that possible where people don't need a contract. You got Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. It's so many outlets to let people get themselves exposure. Because that's what the industry. That was the difference between a record label and what we're doing today. Is you need a record label to get you the exposure. If they got you the exposure, they saw your CD or your cassette or whatever album in a CD store, or that's allowed people. They heard your stuff on the radio and they liked you and they saw your stuff in the store, people would buy it. But now, because people aren't buying music, which that's a different video too, because I think all the money that people invest in gear and equipment and the hard work and the time that it took to make the music and all the whole, even if you're doing it in Pro Tools on your laptop in your home with just an interface and the microphone, if the song is good, the song is good, and the person that took the time to make a good song, they should be rewarded for that. This is the reason why people still pay for concert tickets to go see the artist they like. So I don't see why artists shouldn't be compensated for their work. It's kind of like expecting to go to movies and not pay to get into the movies to go see your favorite film. This is how the director and all the people that help make the film and the actors and all the prop people and the editing people and all that. This is how they all get paid, by people buying tickets at movie theaters to go see, whatever the case. But that's another thing where people were, bootlegging movies and making bootleg copies. And now, that's also a problem. It ain't just in the music industry, it's in the entertainment business. It's the reason why you still have to pay, because even though sports is still entertainment, even though it's sports and it's athletic entertainment versus acting entertainment versus singing or music playing entertainment. It's all connected. This is why they all can interconnect with each other, between an athlete and some celebrity. This is why you would see a lot of athletes in the industry and connected to the industry. It's all entertainment. It's the entertainment industry. But so I've been flapping my gums, and really, once again, and I'll just end it on this note. It's not Pro Tools. Once again, it's like my comparison with people sitting there talking about, they stress mics when they should be stressing preamps. And preamps is not a preamp is just one portion of the equation. You need a good microphone with going through a good preamp, and you're gonna whether you're gonna go through a console or you're gonna go a good 80 to DA converter, and you need to go into Pro Tools because no one's buying a Studer 800 tape machine. They're not economically or efficient to work with. They're big, and they're just not, even though they sound amazing. Tape machines are awesome sounding. That's what billions of records were made on. Tape machines. But people today realize tape machines are just not economically, because the tape costs too much and you only get 15 minutes. Because you ever see a tape machine, when they hit play or record, that thing is doing this. That's why it's 15 feet. 15. It's whizzing. This is why you don't get hardly no time on a tape machine. Before you know it, after 15 minutes, it's out of tape. That's why you only get about 3 songs on a tape. 30 frames, 30 IPS. And I'm not feet, but inches. 30 inches per second. 30 inches. That's a good amount of tape for 1 second. When you say 1 second, 30 inches of tape flew by the tape head or the record head that fast. That's how fast a tape machine is spinning. It's spinning. Hard drives aren't spinning. Well, the older hard drives, they do spin, but there's a little mechanism, a little wheel and mechanized, but it's spinning at so many RPMs, But solid states aren't spinning. Most people got solid state drives anyway. But you can get 500 songs on a terabyte hard drive. You ain't doing it on a tape. Even though hard drives can fail. So both have pros and cons, but yeah, tapes just aren't efficient. You can't edit tape like you can in a DAW. So that argument about blaming Pro Tools ain't going away, because you got almost every pro level commercial studio got Pro Tools. So you can hang that up. They're not going to listen to that statement. They're not giving up their Pro Tools because that's their bread and butter for artists come to the recording studio. So that argument is mute. And you're not people that use Pro Tools or Reaper or any DAW. I call it VRS, virtual recording studio, in their home. They're not giving that up because, of one person's opinion. Because everyone can afford to get a DAW and start recording, whether a free one or a paid one. And you can do whatever you need to do in that. So the people not doing that. Now, you're blaming people that should be in the industry. Well, there are a lot of people that have gotten Pro Tools or Reaper or Ableton Live that shouldn't be singing. Or whatever the case. There are a lot of people. But like I said, it goes back to a lot of people back in the day that they did sign that because they were a niche art. They were a niche group that had a niche sound. Like Devo. Whip that group. Do 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 do. That genre and what they did and how that song went is what made people like them. It's not that they're great singers. Then So I'm done now. Post your comments. Give me your thoughts, about the article. I've been flapping my guns for almost 40 minutes. Well, it's 40 minutes now. Because people know me, I can talk. Other than that, your opinion. Thanks for watching. I'm going to start calling this is the Mark Rant Hour when I do that. My little... All right, y'all have a good one.